First Contact's Fatal Oversight. The Galactic Federation's Archive Entry Number 47,291. Classification: Restricted. Subject: Earth First Contact Incident. Date: 247 standard cycles post-contact. No one in the Federation's First Contact Division expected their greatest mistake would come from an act of kindness. That's what Ambassador Tilera kept telling herself as she watched the latest footage from the Sol system. On the holographic display, another Harvester mothership crumbled under the impossible weapons Earth had developed. Weapons that should never have existed. Weapons that came from her team's misguided gift. Tilera remembered that day clearly, the day they first approached Earth. The humans had just achieved rudimentary spaceflight, barely managing to reach their own moon. Their civilization showed promise but seemed centuries away from true interstellar capabilities. Standard protocol dictated observation only, but Tilera had argued for limited contact. "They're ready," she had insisted to the Council. "Their art, their music, their relentless drive to explore. They have the spirit of a spacefaring race." The Council agreed, reluctantly. First contact proceeded according to protocol. Mostly. That's where the mistake happened. Junior Ambassador Kurul, fresh from the academy, had left behind what he thought was a harmless gift, his personal datapad. It contained basic scientific information, mostly historical documents about the Federation's early development of spaceflight. "It's encrypted anyway," Kurul had assured her. "It would take them centuries to decode our language and technology." Kurul's assessment proved catastrophically wrong. Within 5 years, human scientists had not only decoded the encryption, but had begun implementing the technological principles they discovered. Within 10 years, they had surpassed the development curve the Federation had predicted for them by several centuries. But that wasn't what terrified the Federation. No, what terrified them was how humanity had looked at their peaceful spacefaring technology and seen weapons of unimaginable power. The first hint came when human ships started appearing at the edge of Federation space. Ships that shouldn't have been possible. They used principles of physics the Federation had dismissed as too unstable, too dangerous to attempt. The humans called them quantum fold drives. They didn't just bend space. They'd folded it like origami, creating shortcuts through reality itself. Tilera had been there when the first human ambassador explained their breakthrough to the Federation Council. "We noticed your ships used singular dimensional compression for FTL travel," the human had said, as casual as discussing the weather. "But why limit yourself to one dimension when you can fold all of them?" The council chambers had erupted in chaos. What the humans had done wasn't just advancement, it was evolution. They had taken the Federation's most basic principles of space travel and reimagined them entirely. But that was just the beginning. When the Harvesters appeared at the galaxy's edge, everyone assumed humanity would need protection. The Harvesters had consumed 12 galaxies before reaching ours, their biomechanical ships immune to every weapon the Federation had developed over millennia. Instead, Earth became the front line by choice. They took the Federation's harmless gravity manipulation technology, used primarily for cargo loading, and turned it into weapons that could collapse stars. They looked at shield harmonics and saw a way to create bubbles of altered spacetime where different laws of physics could be imposed at will. "You gave us the alphabet," the human ambassador had explained to a horrified council, "and we wrote a new language of war." Now, watching another Harvester ship die, Tilera understood what they had really done that day. They hadn't just made first contact with a new species. They had awakened something that had been sleeping in humanity's DNA, an instinct born from evolving on a world that tried to kill them every day. An instinct that made them look at every tool, every technology, and ask not just how does this work, but how can this protect us? The datapad contained no weapons, no military secrets, nothing but the basic principles of peaceful space travel. But that was enough. Humanity didn't need weapons handed to them. They just needed to understand how the universe worked. They would figure out the rest on their own. A new alert flashed across Tellura's screen. The humans had deployed something new against the harvesters, something they called a reality inversion cascade. She didn't understand the physics, but she understood the results. Where harvester ships had been, space itself seemed to turn inside out, taking the enemy fleet with it. Tellura began composing her report to the council. How do you explain that your greatest mistake might have saved the galaxy? That the species everyone had dismissed as primitive had taken a simple gift and transformed it into salvation. In the end, she wrote only one line. We gave humanity the keys to the universe, and they built a shield wall around it. The junior analysts would add the details later. The technical specifications, the casualty reports, the strategic analyses. But Tellura knew this was the only thing that mattered. They had wanted to help humanity reach the stars. Instead, humanity had shown them what the stars could become. As she filed the report, Tellura wondered what the humans would create next. They had already rewritten the laws of physics, turned space itself into a weapon. What else would they imagine? What other impossibilities would they make real? Perhaps that had been the true gift all along, not the debt of it, but the chance to see what humanity would become when given just a glimpse of what was possible. They had created miracles from scraps, built wonders from basics, and turned simple principles into universe-changing technologies. The harvesters had called themselves inevitable. They had never met humanity before. Tellura closed the archive entry and stood at her viewport, watching Earth's defense fleet in the distance. Their ships didn't look like Federation vessels. They were all sharp angles and exposed geometry, more like abstract art than spacecraft. But they were beautiful in their own way, a testament to humanity's unique vision of the universe. She had been wrong all those years ago. Humanity hadn't been ready for first contact. The galaxy hadn't been ready for humanity. The Quantum Decoding. Personal Log. Dr. Sarah Chen. Earth Defense Initiative. Quantum Applications Division. Date: 2157-234. Earth Standard. The quantum computer spun up again, its crystalline matrix humming with possibilities. Most of my colleagues thought I was wasting my time trying to decode the deeper layers of the alien datavet. We'd already extracted the basic principles of FTL travel years ago. What else could there be? Everything, as it turned out. The Federation's encryption wasn't just complex, it was elegant. Each layer we decoded revealed new layers beneath, like Russian nesting dolls made of pure mathematics. But it wasn't until we started analyzing the quantum signature of the pad's crystal matrix that we discovered the truth. The encryption itself was a technology more advanced than anything it protected. They gave us the keys to the kingdom, I told Admiral Rodriguez during my briefing. But the real treasure was the lock. The Federation had developed quantum encryption to protect their data, but they'd never fully explored its implications. To them, it was just security. To us, it was a blueprint for manipulating reality at its most fundamental level. That's how we humans have always been different. We don't just use technology. We take it apart, examine it from every angle, imagine new possibilities. Where the Federation saw walls, we saw building blocks. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday. Dr. Patel was the first to spot it, a pattern in the quantum fluctuations that suggested something impossible. The encryption wasn't just storing data, it was storing quantum states. Multiple quantum states, simultaneously, in a stable matrix. It's like they built a quantum computer without realizing it, he said, his hands shaking with excitement. Every datapad in the Federation is technically capable of manipulating quantum reality, but they only use it to store book reports and shopping lists. That's when we started the Quantum Decoding Project. Not to break the encryption. We'd done that years ago. But to understand how it worked at the deepest level. If we could replicate and enhance this technology, we could do more than just fold space. We could rewrite its underlying code. The Harvester threat made our work urgent. Their biomechanical ships were approaching from the galactic rim, consuming everything in their path. The Federation's weapons bounced off their adaptive shields. Their own FTL technology let them predict and counter conventional attacks. But they had never encountered quantum manipulation on the scale we were developing. The first prototype was ready just as the harvesters reached the Arcturus sector. On paper, it was a defensive shield system. In reality, it was something far more profound, a bubble of space where we could actively rewrite quantum probability. The test results exceeded our wildest expectations. When we activated the system, the target drone didn't just disappear. It ceased to have ever existed in our timeline, while simultaneously existing in every possible state. The Schrodinger's cat experiment writ large across space-time itself. Admiral Rodriguez understood the implications immediately. You've given us the ability to choose which reality we want to fight in. The Federation observers were horrified when we demonstrated the technology. Their chief scientist, a Valaxian named Zrith, actually became physically ill watching our presentation. "You've weaponized uncertainty itself," he whispered. "You've turned the fundamental nature of reality into a war machine." He wasn't wrong. But what choice did we have? The harvesters were coming, and conventional weapons wouldn't stop them. Sometimes survival requires thinking so far outside the box that you forget boxes ever existed. We called the final version the quantum nullification field. The name doesn't do it justice. It doesn't just nullify, it rewrites. When activated, it creates a zone where probability itself becomes a weapon. Enemy ships don't just die. They face every possible way of dying simultaneously. Their adaptive shields can't cope because there's nothing specific to adapt to. The Federation thinks we're playing with forces we don't understand. They're right, but understanding has never been humanity's strong suit. We see what works, we imagine what could be, and we build bridges between the possible and the impossible. Tomorrow, we deploy the first QNF-equipped ships against the Harvester fleet. The Federation has evacuated to a safe distance, convinced we're about to tear a hole in reality itself. Maybe we are, but sometimes the only way to save reality is to break it first. Dr. Patel came to my lab late tonight. He's been running simulations of what might happen when we activate multiple QFS systems simultaneously. The mathematics suggests something even we hadn't anticipated. The fields might not just affect local spacetime. They could create a cascading effect, rewriting quantum probability across entire sectors of space. "We're not just building weapons anymore," he said, showing me the calculations. "We're evolving the fundamental laws of physics." I should be terrified. We all should be. We're about to attempt something that could either save the galaxy or unravel the fabric of spacetime. But all I feel is that familiar human excitement, the thrill of pushing boundaries, of doing what everyone else thinks is impossible. The Federation gave us a simple encryption system, thinking it would take us centuries to decode. Instead, we decoded it in years and found within it the keys to manipulating reality itself. Sometimes I wonder if they realize what they really gave us that day. Not just technology, but permission to dream bigger than anyone had ever dreamed before. Tomorrow, we find out if our dreams save us or destroy us. Either way, we've already changed the universe forever. Not bad for a species that was still arguing about whether the Earth was flat a few centuries ago. End log. When stars turn to weapons. Battle report. Arcturus defense action. Commander Elena Santos, EDS Prometheus. Earth date, September 15, 2158. They say the first rule of combat is that no plan survives contact with the enemy. But what happens when your plan involves rewriting the rules of reality itself? I stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching the Harvester fleet approach through the quantum imaging array. Their ships looked like biomechanical nightmares, all twisted metal and pulsing organic matter, each one the size of a small moon. The Federation had lost entire fleets trying to stop just one of these things. We were facing 30. QNF systems at full charge, Lieutenant Park reported from his station. Reality anchor points established. We're ready to initiate the cascade. I took a deep breath. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I remembered my academy training about conventional space warfare, about kinetic weapons and energy beams, about the dance of ships in three-dimensional space. All useless now. We were about to fight a battle where the laws of physics themselves were our weapons. Begin the sequence, I ordered. All ships, execute pattern Omega. Our fleet moved into position. 12 ships arranged in a perfect dodecahedron around the approaching Harvester Armada. Each vessel was equipped with Dr. Chen's quantum nullification field generators. Alone, each could rewrite local spacetime. Together, they would create something unprecedented. The Harvesters noticed us, of course. Their massive ships began to turn, organic weapon pods pulsing with deadly energy. They had adapted to every weapon the Federation had ever created, but they had never faced anything like this. QNF synchronization at 97%. Park announced. Field coherent stable. Ready to initiate on your mark. I watched the enemy fleet on our displays. They were launching their first wave of attack craft. Twisted amalgamations of living tissue and metal that could tear through conventional shields like paper. In any normal battle, this would be the moment of terror, but this wasn't a normal battle. Execute. 12 QNF generators activated simultaneously. Space itself seemed to shudder. On our quantum displays, reality began to fold in ways that made my eyes hurt to watch. The Harvester ships didn't just stop. They began to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Field convergence achieving critical mass, our science officer reported, her voice tight with concentration. Quantum cascade initiating. Now. That's when it happened. The space between our ships, a sphere nearly a light-minute in diameter, became a zone where probability itself went to war. Harvester vessels didn't just die. They experienced every possible way of dying at once. Some split into their component atoms. Others aged millions of years in seconds. A few simply ceased to exist, retroactively erased from time itself. But the Harvesters weren't helpless. Their biomechanical nature gave them advantages we hadn't anticipated. Some of their ships began to adapt, their organic components evolving in real time to cope with the changing laws of physics. It wasn't enough to save them, but it was enough to teach us something crucial. Even in a war where we wielded reality as a weapon, we could still be surprised. Ma'am, Park's voice was urgent. The quantum cascade is exceeding predicted parameters. It's changing the fundamental constants of space in this sector. He was right. Our weapons hadn't just destroyed the Harvester fleet. They had permanently altered the nature of space itself in the battlefield zone. Stars in the affected region began to shine with slightly different spectra. The very fabric of space-time had been rewritten. The Federation observers, watching from a safe distance, were broadcasting on all frequencies, begging us to shut down our weapons before we did permanent damage to the galaxy itself. But it was too late for that. The cascade had achieved independence, becoming a self-sustaining phenomenon that would persist for thousands of years. We had won the battle. But in doing so, we had changed something fundamental about the universe itself. The region of space where we fought would forever be different, a perpetual reminder of the day humanity decided to weaponize reality. As the quantum cascade stabilized, I ordered our fleet to safe distance. The Harvester fleet was gone, not just destroyed, but erased so completely that even their quantum signatures had vanished from our sensors. We had achieved something that the Federation had thought impossible. A total victory against an enemy they had deemed unstoppable. But victory came with questions that would haunt us for generations. We had proven we could rewrite the laws of physics themselves to win a war. What did that make us? Gods? Monsters? Or something else entirely? A species so determined to survive that we would reshape reality itself, rather than accept defeat. The Federation's diplomatic corps was already sending messages, alternating between congratulations and horror. They wanted to know if we could reverse what we'd done to local spacetime. We couldn't. They wanted to know if we understood the long-term implications of our weapons. We didn't. All we knew was that we had found a way to survive, and in doing so, had changed the rules of warfare forever. As I prepared my report for Earth Command, I couldn't help but think about the irony. The Federation had given us that datapad thinking it would help us join their peaceful society of spacefaring races. Instead, we had used it to become something they had never imagined possible. A species capable of bending reality itself to our will. The stars outside my viewport seemed different now, somehow. Or maybe I was the one who had changed. We all had. You can't wage war with reality itself and remain the same. End report. The price of innovation. Transcript. Emergency session of the Earth Defense Council. Location: Underground Chambers, Geneva. Date: December 21, 2158. The holographic displays showed it clearly. Regions of space where reality itself had been permanently altered. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the council, her usual confidence replaced by visible concern as she pointed to the spreading quantum anomalies. "We didn't just change the battlefield," she explained, her voice echoing in the chamber. "We changed the fundamental nature of space-time in that region. And it's growing." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic glow. "Growing? What exactly do you mean, Doctor?" "The quantum cascade effect isn't contained. It's spreading slowly but consistently. The altered space is expanding at roughly 1 light-year per month. At this rate, it will reach inhabited systems within 5 years." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Councillor Wei, her face pale, asked the question everyone was thinking. "Can we stop it?" "That's the problem," Chen replied. "We don't fully understand what we created. The quantum nullification field was designed to be a weapon, not a tool for permanent spatial engineering. We never anticipated it would become self-sustaining." The council chambers fell silent as the implications sank in. They had created the perfect weapon against the harvesters, but at what cost? The Federation's warnings about humanity's reckless innovation no longer seemed so paranoid. "There's more," Chen continued. "We're detecting unusual phenomena in the affected regions. Spacetime isn't just different there. It's becoming increasingly unpredictable. Ships passing through report temporal anomalies, physics behaving in ways we can't explain. We're not just changing space. We're creating new laws of physics." Admiral Rodriguez stood, his military bearing at odds with the uncertainty in his voice. "What are our options?" "We've identified 3 possibilities," Chen responded, bringing up new displays. "First, we attempt to contain the spread using traditional spatial barriers. This would buy us time but wouldn't solve the underlying problem. Second, we try to counteract the cascade with an inverse quantum field. Risky, and it could make things worse. Third," she paused, "we could attempt to stabilize the affected space by introducing new quantum constants, essentially creating a permanently altered region of space that follows its own rules." "You're talking about intentionally changing the laws of physics in part of our galaxy," Councillor Wei interjected. "Do we have that right?" The question hung in the air. Humanity had already shown it had the capability, but capability didn't equal authority. They had acted out of necessity against the harvesters. But this would be different, a deliberate choice to permanently alter the nature of reality itself. "The Federation is demanding we find a way to reverse what we've done," Rodriguez added. "They're calling it an environmental catastrophe on a cosmic scale." Chen's laugh was bitter. "Reverse it? We barely understand what we did in the first place. This is like asking ancient humans to uninvent fire. We've fundamentally changed our understanding of what's possible. We can't put that knowledge back in the box." The council chamber's screen suddenly lit up with new data. The quantum cascade had encountered a harvester scout ship. The footage was unlike anything they'd seen before. The ship didn't just die, it transformed, its biomechanical components twisting into new configurations as it tried to adapt to the changed laws of physics. In the end, it became something else entirely, neither destroyed nor preserved, but evolved into a form that could exist in the altered space. That's new, Chen whispered, staring at the readings. The cascade isn't just changing space, it's forcing evolution. Anything that enters the affected region either adapts or ceases to exist. Rodriguez's face hardened. Are you saying we've created a zone of forced evolution in space itself? I'm saying we've created something that's rewriting the rules of existence, and it's not stopping. The implications were staggering. They had wanted a weapon to defeat the harvesters. Instead, they had created a tool for cosmic evolution, a phenomenon that was actively changing the nature of space, time, and everything within it. The Federation was right, Counselor Wei said quietly. We weren't ready for this level of technology. We took their simple gift and turned it into something that could reshape the galaxy itself. No, Chen countered. They were wrong. We were exactly ready for this. That's what terrifies them. Humanity has always pushed boundaries, always sought to understand and control our environment. We didn't misuse their technology. We saw its true potential. The question isn't whether we were ready for this power. The question is, what do we do with it now? The council chamber fell silent again as the displays showed the spreading quantum cascade. In the affected space, stars shone with new colors, matter behaved according to new rules, and reality itself was being rewritten one light year at a time. We have to make a decision, Rodriguez finally said. Do we try to stop this, or do we try to control it? Do we retreat from what we've created, or do we take responsibility for it? Chen looked at the displays, at the beautiful and terrifying thing they had unleashed upon the galaxy. Maybe those aren't the right questions, she said. Maybe the real question is, what does the universe look like when humanity stops being just another species and becomes an active participant in cosmic evolution? No one had an answer. Outside the council chambers, the quantum cascade continued its inexorable expansion, carrying humanity's first fumbling attempts at reality engineering to the stars. They had created something that would change the galaxy forever. Now they had to decide what that change would mean. End transcript. Guardians of Tomorrow. Galactic Federation Emergency Summit. Location: New Geneva Station, Earth orbit. Date: March 15, 2159, Earth Standard. The Great Chamber of the New Geneva Station hung in Earth's orbit like a crystal tear, its transparent walls offering a view of both humanity's homeworld and the distant stars they had changed forever. Ambassador T. Laris stood at the podium, facing representatives from every spacefaring race in the known galaxy. The chamber had been designed to accommodate them all, from the towering Arcturians to the floating gas forms of the Helios Collective. We gather here, she began, to address what many are calling the greatest crisis our galaxy has ever faced. The quantum cascade effect continues to spread. Already, it has transformed 12 star systems. Our projections show it will reach the core worlds within a decade. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices and translated signals. The Federation's greatest minds had spent months studying the phenomenon humanity had unleashed. They had found no way to stop it, no way to reverse it. The laws of physics themselves were being rewritten, one sector at a time. Dr. Sarah Chen took the podium next, her presence causing a hush to fall over the assembly. Many viewed her as the architect of their current crisis. Others saw her as the savior who had found a way to defeat the harvesters. She was both, and neither. We've completed our analysis of the transformed regions, she announced, bringing up a holographic display that filled the chamber. What we're seeing isn't destruction, it's evolution. The quantum cascade isn't just changing space, it's optimizing it. The display showed stars burning more efficiently in the transformed space, planets where the laws of physics had shifted to better support life. Even the fabric of space-time itself had become more stable, more conducive to the complexity that gave rise to consciousness. The gift you gave us, Chen continued, nodding to Tulara, contained more than just technical information. It contained a fundamental truth about the universe, that reality itself is mutable, You used this principle for encryption. We saw something more. The potential to guide the evolution of space itself. Commander Elena Santos stepped forward next, her military uniform stark against the civilian dress of the assembled delegates. The harvesters weren't just an enemy. They were a symptom. They represented entropy, decay, the universe's slow slide towards simplicity and death. Our quantum weapons weren't just designed to destroy them. They were designed to create something new. The holographic display shifted, showing the transformed regions in greater detail. The Harvester scout ship they had observed wasn't just surviving in the changed space. It was thriving, transformed into something entirely new. Not a weapon of destruction, but a creation of unprecedented complexity. We don't fully understand what we've created, Chen admitted. But we know this. The transformed regions are becoming cradles of new physics, new possibilities, new forms of life itself. We didn't just make a weapon. We made a tool for cosmic gardening. The chamber erupted again, but this time the tone was different. The fear was still there, but mixed with something else. Wonder, possibility, hope. Admiral Rodriguez took the podium last. The Federation gave us a gift, thinking we needed to be guided slowly into the galactic community. Instead, we showed you something you had forgotten, that the universe isn't fixed. It can be shaped, guided, improved. We turned your encryption into a key that unlocks reality itself. He paused, looking out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. We're not asking for forgiveness. We're offering partnership. The quantum cascade can't be stopped, but it can be directed. We can work together to guide it, to ensure it creates rather than destroys, to use it as a tool for universal evolution rather than cosmic chaos. Lara stepped forward again. The Federation has long prided itself on being the guardians of galactic civilization, but perhaps we've been too focused on preserving, on maintaining, on keeping things as they are. Humanity has shown us another way, not just to exist in the universe, but to participate in its evolution. The decision wasn't unanimous, but it was decisive. The Federation would work with humanity to understand and guide the quantum cascade. Earth's scientists would share their insights, while the Federation's vast experience would help temper human innovation with wisdom and foresight. As the summit concluded, Dr. Chen stood at one of the station's viewing windows, watching Earth rotate below. The quantum cascade was visible now from certain angles, a subtle shimmer in space where reality was being rewritten. We're not just changing space, she said to Lara, who had joined her at the window. We're changing what it means to be intelligent life in this universe. We're becoming active participants in cosmic evolution. Lara's multifaceted eyes reflected the Earth's light. When we left the datapad behind, we thought we were giving you a simple gift. Instead, you showed us that the simplest gifts can contain the greatest possibilities. Together, they watched the stars, the old ones that had shone on countless civilizations, and the new ones that burned with possibilities that had never existed before. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger role in the universe. They were no longer just inhabitants of the cosmos, but its gardeners, its guides, its guardians. The universe would never be the same. And that perhaps was the greatest gift of all. End record.